children to another session of an interesting grammar class. Today we are going to learn about verbs. So children, if I say I am reading a book, so what am I doing? I am reading, right? So the work that is being done by me is reading. So whatever work I do, or whatever the noun or the pronoun does, what action is done by it, that is called a verb. Now here is small exercise, or you can say activity, where you have to color each verb object pair in a separate color. So you can use separate colors for separate pairs. So here we will match these things and you will color the pairs. Now play. We can say play a piano. Then catch a cold. Then throw a ball. Then bake a cake. Laugh and sleep don't have any objects. Now let's see. Now list the verbs that did not need objects. So which are the verbs which didn't need the objects? That is laugh, and the second is the sleep. These are the verbs which did not need any object. Now the verbs that needed objects are transitive verbs. So you can see here children that those verbs which needed the objects, they are called transitive verbs, and the verbs that did not need objects are called intransitive verbs. So these are two types of verbs that are to be understood. Now the first sentence, here we have some sentences given, that is Adil cooks noodles, Manan cooks well. Now in the first sentence, noodles is the object. So what does Adil cook? He cooks noodles. So noodles is the object that clarifies what Adil cooks. Hence the verb cooks is a transitive verb. So the verb that is used in this sentence, that is cooks, is a transitive verb. It needs an object to express a complete thought, right? In the second sentence, the verb cooks does not require an object. Hence it is an intransitive verb. Now here are some sentences also. So you can see here that we have to mention that which verbs in these sentences are transitive and which are intransitive. So we have to circle the objects as well when we find a transitive verb. So a tailor stitched a dress. Now the tailor stitched a dress. So a dress is the object. So stitched is a transitive verb. The dress was stitched. Now here stitched has no object. So it is intransitive. The mirror cracked. So this also doesn't have any object. It is intransitive. So I hope children you have known how to do this exercise. Hope you will do it all by yourself. Let's move forward. Now look at these sentences. Bobby gave a book to Ryan. Rupa gave Aman 3 shells. The first sentence has two objects. Now here we have Bobby gave a book to Ryan. So gave a book, book is also an object, and Ryan is also an object. Now let's see what are these two objects. Now book is the direct object as it answers the question what. So it is directly correlated to gave. What is given? A book is given. Then Ryan is the indirect object, that is to or for whom is this done, that is done for Ryan. So Ryan is the indirect object. Then in the second sentence, 3 shells is the direct object and Aman is the indirect object here. Now we have to circle the direct objects and underline the indirect objects in these sentences. I posted the letter at the post office. So we have to circle the direct object and underline the indirect object. Now let's do one of them, that is posted what? This is the direct object, the letter, and the post office is the indirect object. Our teacher gave us some work to do. So us is the indirect object and here work is the direct object. So this is how you are going to do it. Now we will move further and see what all is done. Now this is the exercise that you have to cover up. Now make sentences using these pairs of words. Use the first word of each pair as direct object and the second word as indirect object. Underline the verbs in the sentence you make. So use a verb which will have the direct and the indirect object given here. So the chair is the direct object, mother is the indirect object. What type of sentence can be made and what kind of verb can be used to complete this sentence? I gave a chair to my mother. So you can write here, I gave a chair to my mother. So the verb used here is gave and you have to underline the verb used here. So this is how you are going to make sentences of all these words or pairs of words. Now complete this passage with suitable verbs from the box. So here are some suitable verbs given and we have to complete the passage. The crows dash a nest among the branches. The crow built a nest among the branches. Mother crow laid eggs and hatched them. Father crow dash out every morning. Father crow flew out every morning to search for food. Once the eggs hatched out, right? Once the eggs hatched out, the mother fed them, and in this way you will do all the sentences. This is done and now here is some play work and you can do it when you come to school. Now it is your birthday next week. Draft an invitation card to send to your friends and relatives. So children, here you have to write an invitation card to your friend and relative over here. So how will you write the invitation card over here? This is the space given, draw lines and you can write the invitation card over here, inviting your friend on your birthday party, at what date and where you have organized it and at what time. So these 3 things must be mentioned in your invitation card. So children, this is all in this chapter and hope you have learnt a lot about the verbs. So have a nice day. Bye bye.